Whoosh. What up, though, sports fans? Time for another episode of My Brother's Keeper. Today's topic is going to be the Detroit Lions. Um, Trying to prevent people from drinking the Kool-Aid. I've drank it many years before, and let's not go ahead and start jumping off the bridge already. The Detroit Lions. This is being made after the Eagles game. This is going into week 4. Next game is versus Kansas City. Right now, the Lions are 2-0-1, and a lot of the national media has been praising them. I guess as you should, since they are technically undefeated, and saying that they're a lot better than uh, what people are giving them credit for. And I'm here to tell you, no, they're not better than what people are giving them credit for. They're getting credit for being a trash team, and they are a trash team. They're trash this year. All 3 games they should have lost, but the other teams just wanted to lose more. You start with Arizona, rookie quarterback, top 3 corners were injured. Here we are coming in with our full strength, all of our players available to us. We jump out to an 18 point lead, and everybody's going crazy over TJ Hockenson. He's having a great game. However, since Arizona was missing their top 3 corners, they had their dime corner on our number 1 receiver. They're playing a prevent defense pretty much for most of the game to stop anything from going to deep, which opened up the middle of the field, which is why Danny Amendola and TJ Hockenson were able to get off and put up some pretty decent numbers. But as usual in Lions fashion, they did everything they could towards the end, stalled drives, turnovers, gave Arizona a chance. Although I will say most of Arizona's big plays came from broken plays. They were guarded pretty well initially. Kyler Murray used his legs, bought some time, and found Larry Fitz all over the field for the comeback in the fourth quarter. And just a complete collapse by the Detroit defense. And with Matt Patricia, that's supposed to be a defensive guru that we brought in and got rid of a coach that was getting us to the playoffs or on the brink of the playoffs for 4 straight years. That's something that he's supposed to prevent, especially going against a rookie quarterback. Now, last season we ran into the exact same situation. The Jets came to Ford Field and completely destroyed the Lions. And Patricia once again put together a trash game plan and got the Lions blown out and had the Jets cheering louder than Lions fans in Ford Field. So this time we're on the road. It still looked like it should have been a winnable game, and Detroit blew it in the end. Next game was in Detroit versus the Chargers. Chargers were a playoff team last year. Chargers had at least 2 or 3 touchdowns called back off of penalties. 2 of the penalties were BS, and I'm a Lions fan, and I'll even call BS on them. Lions once again did everything they could to lose that game, but luckily the Chargers wanted to lose it more. They missed 2 field goals. Seemed like they might have missed extra. They penalties on touchdowns. It was they definitely moved the ball up and down the field at will, and they were the better team. Lions just happened to, they trip and fall into some wins sometimes, and that was another example of that. And then this last game against Philly, I actually was in Philadelphia for that game, saw it live, and they look just as bad in person as they do on TV. Actually, they look a little bit worse. It was first I'll at least give Agnew credit. He fumbled a couple of times the previous weeks, special teams. He got benched last week versus the Chargers. Patricia gave him another chance, and he took the he took the kick. He ran the kickback after the Eagles got the ball first and drove the ball down Detroit's throat, stalled at the end, and got a field goal, kicked it off. Agnew ran it back 100 yards, first kickoff return of the NFL season from any team. So hats off to him for redeeming himself. However, Eagles' very next drive, they drove the ball down the Lions' throat and scored again. And Eagles were missing their top 2 receivers, Elshon Jeffries and Deshaun Jackson. And even with that, they were still able to drive the ball pretty much at will in the beginning. They kind of stalled in the middle. Detroit played a little bit. Detroit played all right through the middle of the game. We put up a couple points, but once again we were leading going into the fourth. And when you need a run game to run the clock out, we couldn't do it. When we needed clutch third down plays, we hit a couple of them, but once again Stafford threw the ball into the ground and missed a wide open Marvin Jones to keep a drive going. But luckily, the Eagles kept choking. They had multiple chances. They had multiple chances to win this game, but they did everything they could possible to blow it and give it back to us. Even the Lions drove and got within field goal range, looked to kick it to get ahead by 6, and had it blocked. Eagles pick it up, run it all the way down to like maybe the 20, but then they had a penalty that brought them back. So once again, they did something that helped the Lions. Had multiple opportunities. Actually, the last play, Carson Wentz hit one of their receivers right in the hands on the 1-yard line. It would have been a touchdown, and that was a game that they should have won. But the guy dropped the pass. Had that been Elshon Jeffries or Deshaun Jackson, that definitely would have been a loss. So all 3 wins, it wasn't the Lions outperforming the other team. It was the other team playing worse than Detroit. And those are the Chargers still have a good team, and I think they're still going to make it pretty far. The Eagles look like they're having some issues with the NFC East playing the NFC North this year. I don't know if the Eagles are going to be able to recover because the NFC North is pretty good. It's pretty tough so far. So, but looking at the Lions, I'm a Lions fan. However, I've watched the games. If you just look at the record, you might think that they're decent, but no. This is a very bad team, and Kansas City is absolutely going to expose us. It's going to be ugly early, and it's going to be ugly often. Pat Mahomes is the future of the NFL. If there's anyone that can challenge Brady on the amount of Super Bowls that he's going to win, if you're talking about pure talent, Pat Mahomes has the complete package. His arm is incredible. He makes great reads. His receivers they've got a lot of speed in Kansas City, and his deep ball is incredible. He's an incredible quarterback, and Kansas City is not going to beat themselves. So Detroit is going to have to actually outplay them in order to beat them, and I don't think they're capable of doing that. I know they're not capable of doing it, and I'm calling a 25-point win at least for Kansas City coming into Detroit this Sunday. So hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully Patricia gets things together and gets them focused in order to make a comeback. But as of now, I don't see it. Detroit is not good enough to beat Kansas City. Simple as that. All the hype behind them. As soon as they run into some good teams that's not going to beat themselves, Detroit's not going to do it. Last year we had 6 wins with the offense, with the current offensive players, and the only difference between last year and this year is Amendola took Golden Tate's spot, and Golden Tate is a better player than him all around. So I don't understand why people think that this year is going to be any different. Patricia's still a terrible coach. Stafford's still a average quarterback making elite pay, and we still can't establish the run. Kerryon Johnson has shown flashes. He looks like he has a lot of talent. He looks like he could, the running back, he looks like he can, he'll have a good season maybe. He'll put up a few yards. He'll put up some highlights. I don't know if he'll get to 1,000, not with the way the line is looking right now. So we'll see. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. But it was fun while this lasted. Trust me, I've been all over social media calling out Detroit undefeated, Lions undefeated. I'm enjoying it while I can. But that's coming to an end on this Sunday. So enjoy the win streak while you can in Detroit. And I'll catch you next time. My brother's keeper. Thanks for tuning in.